Hello, my name is Teen Polstowait.
And I'm Ella Deline.
Our project is Learning Styles of VARK model. I am presenting the visual and the auditory.
And I will be doing reading and writing in kinesthetic learning.
All right, so we created a handout, which is a guided notes that will help you follow through our slides. So you can fill that out as we're presenting. So what are learning styles? Learning styles are cognitive and psychological features which students use as a means of interaction within the learning process. These styles are related with a series of personal characteristics for each individual, which are gradually developed through growth. Learning styles align with how we present information, how we process information, and how we face a task. There are 4 different types of learning styles, which are visual, read and write, auditory, and kinesthetics. So first, visuals. Visual learners. A visual learner is someone who learns best by processing information through visual aid, like diagrams, charts, images, and videos, essentially preferring to see and observe rather than just hear and read to understand a concept. They tend to have strong spatial awareness and remember details better when presented visually. Here's a video about visual learners.
Presents learning styles and graphics to help visualize information. Trevor is a visual learner. Visual learners learn best when the information is presented using mind maps, written instructions, maps, charts, and other visual materials. Trevor learns best by seeing information visually. He keeps track of all of his assignments and activities using a calendar and assigning each subject and activity a different color. This helps him to stay organized and manage his time. Trevor loves reading books that have lots of charts and pictures because this helps him to understand the context and meaning much better than just having a book with only text. When presenting a project, Trevor likes to use lots of different types of visuals. This allows him to express his thoughts and ideas to his teachers and classmates. Visual learners have great imagination to connect a visual representation to the written expression. So it's important to remember that no matter how you learn, we all have strengths as learners that we use to help build our success.
All right, Trevor was a great example of what a visual learner looks like. So if you relate to Trevor, he may be a visual
Hello,
learner.
everyone. Welcome to Clipboard Classes. Today, we're going to talk about different styles of.
Sorry. So here are some examples of visuals, which can be images, drawings, videos, photos, mental mapping, and taking notes. Technology for visual learners. An example I have is Canva. Canva is great for teachers to use. Teachers can create fun presentations or graphs using Canva, which will be beneficial to visual learners. Canva is also a great tool for visual learners who are trying to organize and present their thoughts. Another technology for visual learners is Padlet. Padlet is a great tool for presenting ideas to visual learners. Teachers are able to write notes and present them to their students. Padlet is also great for students who need to write down notes and sketch out ideas to form a complete thought. Some challenges for visual learners include assessment methods. Visual learners often struggle with standardized testing, so tests won't reflect their abilities. Teachers will need to come up with new ways to provide a fair way of testing their students, which could be presentations or projects. Individual attention. Visual learners oftentimes need more one-on-one time with teachers, which can be challenging in larger classrooms. Having a teacher aide will help you be in multiple places at once. And resource availability. Not all schools or teachers have access to all the necessary resources, such as interactive whiteboards, supplies for visual aids, and educational software to support a visual learner. And now on to my partner, Ella.
I will be talking about the reading and writing ways of learning. For a reading and writing learner, this is a type of learning during which people prefer to read and write in order to learn more effectively. These learners are known as reading and writing learners and usually learn best by reading and writing information down. They are the people who always add notes to pictures, choose a hardcover book over an audiobook, and prefer using colored captions while watching videos, closed captions while watching videos. Their learning process consists of a combination between reading and writing by reading to understand and note taking to learn. And here's a video linked to reading and writing learning style.
Let's see if my Stitch Fix box matches my style. My stylist tells me that I'm a rustic.
Hello, my name is Alika, and today I will be talking about the wonderful world of learning styles. Now, concentrate your copy and taking lots and lots of notes. What's important to note with this learning style is that you can't just rewrite an entire textbook and then call that a day. You need to write the concept down in your own words because it's very easy to confuse memorization with understanding when it comes to the reading, writing, learning style. So I would suggest getting supplementary information and maybe going on Google and just searching on the web a bit when you're trying to use this reading and writing style so that you can actually get a sense of what the idea means to you and not just memorize what someone else wrote in a textbook, for example. Making bullet point lists and turning diagrams into words could be very useful when you're trying to use this method of learning. And something that I've done myself is to take a concept that you're learning in a textbook and to write a whole essay on it. Now, I know that takes time and a lot of you are probably already overloaded with enough work that you need to worry about. But writing an essay really forces you to write it down in your own words, and it forces you to really grapple with an idea and helps you recognize where there might be gaps in your knowledge. So even if it isn't a 100-page essay, just write like 1 page on some theory that you're learning about. This is especially useful when it comes to more information-heavy subjects such as like history or biology. Now, what I talked to you about in this video was by no means an exhaustive list of studying techniques. So if you're interested in learning about some scientifically proven methods that you can cut down on your studying time and use that time a lot more efficiently, then you can look at the other video that I made. It's going to be somewhere on the screen. Also, if you like the video, give it a like. If you have any questions.
In that video, they address really good ways and tips for a reading and writing learner. And I also learned that while you can just simply read and write what you retain from something, it's also important to customize it so that you remember and learn it even better. So the first technology I have for a reading and writing learner is Asana. Asana is a digital note-taking app that makes it easy to plan work by doing an online to-do list. Me personally, I am definitely a to-do list kind of girl. I love the feeling of being able to cross something off my to-do list. It's super satisfying. And this digital note-taking app is a dream for reading and writing learners. The next technology I have is called Merriam-Webster. You may have heard of this before. If you are a learner who learns best through reading, this dictionary has definitions for over 300,000 words. This website offers both a dictionary and thesaurus. This website not only offers a dictionary and thesaurus, but also games, quizzes, and several other fun activities. Challenges for a reading and writing learner. This style can be overly simplistic, which means neglecting the complex reality of how people really learn. And if an individual only relies on this learning style, it can lead to limitations in tailoring instruction effectively. A reading and writing learner likes taking detailed notes, summarizing info, rereading text, organizing thoughts into lists, and engaging with written material through journaling. And now on to Tegan.
So I will be presenting auditory ways of learning. Auditory learners, they tend to remember more easily academic lessons which are carried out with verbal explanations. The auditory style does not allow concepts to be related like visual systems. Nevertheless, it is vital in the learning process for music and language. Students who use their auditory sense pay more attention to what the teacher is saying, and they learn better when they participate in conferences or presentations. And here's a video about some study tips for
What
auditory
separates
learners.
great thinkers and the okay thinkers isn't talent. It's what they do with their time. And the
I can do it. Study in small groups. Because auditory learners benefit from hearing the information and from talking about it, group study sessions can be so helpful. And of course, I always advise that you study by yourself first so that you get a clear picture of what you do and you don't know, and then you take your questions to the group. Groups of 3 to 4 students is a good size, but even just having one study partner that you review with can do so much for how much we actually get what we're studying. Number 2, teach someone else the material. This study tip works for any and all learning styles, all right? But it works like magic for auditory learners. Now, this is different from studying in a group. When you're studying in a group, the other people are generally familiar with the material, right? But for this strategy, it's actually best to find someone who doesn't really know what you're talking about, like maybe a younger sibling, a friend who's not taking that class, or your mom. Seriously, my oldest daughter is in 1st grade, and some of the stuff she brings home got me all like, I don't know. Confession, I don't know 1st grade stuff. So number 3, watch videos about what you're learning in class. And like, you pick the videos. They don't have to be like documentaries. They can be fun videos, right? You're on YouTube anyway. It doesn't take a rocket scientist also to figure out that I would be all about YouTube, right? But seriously, there is so much good information out there in video format that can help reinforce what we learn in class.
All right, so that video was great examples for study tips of auditory learners. If you would like to finish that video, you can click on that link right there. Technology for auditory learners could be Audio Bookshelf. Audio Bookshelf is a self-hosted audiobook and podcast server. An audiobook is a book that is read to you by someone else. This is perfect for those who retain information by hearing, because you don't actually have to do any of the reading. Another technology is Bixby. Bixby is a virtual assistant developed by Samsung Electronics. This assistant can even be programmed on a refrigerator. This app ultimately helps users control their device with voice commands. Some challenges an auditory learner might face is distractions, other people talking, background noise, or sometimes even silence. Written information, auditory learners have trouble processing information presented in writing. Retaining information it is harder to retain information when it's being read to you. This can also lead to forgetting information. Some examples of audio can be music, recordings, reading out loud, and discussions. You can use this in your classrooms, which would be helpful for auditory learners. Next is kinesthetic, presented by Ella.
Kinesthetic learning. This is a teaching associated with sensations or movements, in other words, the capacity to learn while touching or carrying out an experiment. Although this system is slower than the visual and auditory process, kinesthetic learning usually generates long-lasting, deep knowledge over time. To incentivize this style, it is important to implement laboratory practices, educational games, or the creation of scale models. In this way, students learn to put their creativity into practice, and I found a really good video about kinesthetic learners.
Communication is an essential part of my job. That's why I use Grammarly, an AI partner.
Kinesthetic learners, also known as tactile learners, are individuals who learn best through physical activities and hands-on experiences. They prefer engaging in tasks that involve movement and touching materials, rather than just listening to lectures or watching demonstrations. Examples of learning activities that benefit kinesthetic learners include building models, conducting experiments, role-playing, and using physical objects to solve problems. For instance, a kinesthetic learner might understand geometric shapes better by handling three-dimensional models rather than looking at pictures in a textbook. In a history class, acting out historical events or visiting a museum can help them grasp the material more effectively. One strength of kinesthetic learners is their proficiency in hands-on skills. They excel in tasks that require manual dexterity and physical manipulation, such as sports, arts and crafts, and laboratory work. Another strength is their problem-solving ability. Kinesthetic learners tend to be strong problem solvers because they enjoy figuring things out through trial and error. Their preference for hands-on learning helps them understand how things work in a practical sense. Additionally, kinesthetic learners are highly engaged when they can move and interact with their learning environment, leading to better retention of information and a more enjoyable learning experience. However, kinesthetic learners also face some challenges. They may struggle in traditional classroom settings where learning is primarily auditory or visual. They can find it hard to sit still for long periods and may become easily distracted. Another challenge is note-taking. Because they learn best by doing, kinesthetic learners might not take detailed notes during lectures or find it hard to organize information in written form, which can affect their performance on written tests and assignments. Further,
if you yourself are a kinesthetic learner or just wanting to learn more about it, that does a really good job at summarizing what it's like to be a kinesthetic learner. The first technology I have for a kinesthetic learner is called PhET simulations. PhET simulations is a technology that is interactive for those who learn best through kinesthetic learning. This app is full of simulations based on physics, math and statistics, chemistry, earth and space, and biology. Each of these statistics has subtopics that you can dive into, and it even tailors to each grade level. The next technology I have is called Figuro. Figuro is an online 3D modeling app. This website can be used for game development, 3D printing, architecture, and more. This app allows for kinesthetic learners to unleash their creativity. Challenges for a kinesthetic learner range from attention span, traditional classroom setting, and assessment challenges. A kinesthetic learner can be easily distracted by their environment due to the fact that they're constantly wanting to move. They may struggle to focus during lengthy lectures or passive learning activities due to their need for movement. Traditional classroom setting they may find it difficult to adapt to traditional learning methods that rely heavily on lectures and textbook reading, as they prefer active engagement through physical activities. Assessment challenges, they may struggle with written tests or assessment that don't allow for physical interaction, potentially underperforming in situations where they need to demonstrate knowledge solely through writing. A kinesthetic learner likes manual tasks, practical knowledge, educational games, experiments, and bodily movement. Conclusions that we've developed through this presentation. Learning styles demonstrate that people learn differently. The majority of students are not limited to only one system. As educators, it is important to determine different ways of learning. In view of the fact that many people have combinations of these factors to manage to take in educational content, the challenge is to offer enriching approaches that guarantee educational quality. Virtual education is an alternative in order to adapt and make more flexible the presentation of these contents to the specific needs of each student. Here are our multimedias. We listed the VARK model so you could figure out your own learning style. And then we also linked a website where you're able to find out more information and games about learning styles. And here are all of our resources that we used. And that's it.